What's up, world? What's up, Zion? It's Prince Easy coming at you again once more, as usual. I do have a couple of slides that I want to share with you in this fine day that we're having, right? And of course, before we get to those, I want to issue a disclaimer, right? Fair use disclaimer for all the copywritten material that's going to be shared in this here video, right? So, yeah, without further ado, let's get to them, right? So, crooks here, if that doesn't say it all, but crooks here says it was a mysterious explosion or strike, right? A mysterious strike from a ship coming out of Oman. Does Iran have a problem with Oman? No, they do not. Does Israel have a problem with Oman? Yes, they do. Does America have a problem with Oman? Yes, they do. So then, can we speculate? Right, that's just forgetting the whole blockade situation that is happening there, right? Like high waters piracy type situation, right? Well, our contribution. Well, I think us as a whole, we should find a mechanism to make these patents accessible to Africans, that we can produce them without any form of restrictions. Yeah? And of course, the Congolese know how to pull up. Right? There is nobody that can dress better than the Congolese in the world. Believe me, you. Okay? You think you know designer? You have not. So yes, the pull-up was strong. So apparently this is what is happening. Signing ceremony, they say. Keir Starmer has this to say: in the early hours of this morning, I directed our armed forces to intercept a Shadow Fleet oil tanker attempting to pass through the English Channel. Okay? This successful operation delivers yet another blow to Russia and reminds those fueling Putin's war in Ukraine that we will not let them hide. I want to thank those involved, including our armed forces and law enforcement officers who keep this country safe 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So, let's digest this. It's quite easy, really, because these people are idiots, right? So, the first paragraph, the English Channel does not mean the territory of UK. It does not. Okay? The second paragraph, right? Your sanctions are illegal. The whole world knows it. That's why we are not adopting it, unless some people just choose to bow. But they are not acceptable under any circumstance. Okay? And what do you expect Russia to do? One of these days, one of these vessels approaching these tankers will get put down, and then we're going to have a problem. Is that what you want? Because this, it seems that they are determined, right, to pull the whole, what do they call, the Jericho situation. Like all of Europe is doing that right now. Like, you see them and you see what they actually focus on. They're not focusing on repairing or rebuilding their countries, like, at all. None of them are. They're all preparing for, they're literally tearing down the whole world as we know. Now you can't get stuck with them and go down with them. That's up to you. Okay, the last paragraph. Okay, those tankers were not a threat to British sovereignty in any way. But hey, he's a politician, right? He's the one with the higher moral values and stuff. Yeah, a lot of things are becoming undone. Israel now, right? Cut from the same cloth with Tama. A Hezbollah command center in Deir, Beirut, following their launch of aerial targets towards Israel. The command center was used by Hezbollah terrorists to advance terrorist attacks against Israel civilians and IDF soldiers operating in southern Lebanon. Prior to the strikes, steps were taken to mitigate harm to civilians. From what I hear, 3 people have died and 6 injured. Shall circle back to this. Well, all I can tell you is this. There is so much electricity in the air. And please, people, let's be honest, right? This is the second El Nino warning. This is not the first El Nino warning. Within a couple, 2 years in a row? All I'm saying is, it's fishy. Okay? No pun intended. But genuine question, right? All of those drainages need to be cleaned, debris taken out, in towns especially. But we're gonna be alright, God willing. So now there's links to, apparently the Iranians have hacked drones that are used to keep the security at the FIFA World Cup, right? I remember watching a movie, the new, what do they call it, with the character Frank Drebin, Police Squad or something. Yeah, I think it is. And basically they're having this big UFC fight, and this villain in this movie chose this event to basically deploy a device that would make people turn violent. No connection whatsoever, okay? But hey, at least the Americans are consistent. Right? UK warship encircled, right? And there are even talks of commandos being used, right? Another act of piracy. Europeans. Well, this is happening. G7. What does the G stand for? And are they? So, my guy cannot keep his mouth shut. He just has to blab about being part of the conspiracy. Right? Everywhere. He just doesn't really care. He's a rock star. You know, he's like, I don't know, Tony Stark or something. That's a lot of drones. Well, Burning Cross in Chicago, right? Another famous Ku Klux Klan yeah, I don't know what to expect, but I'm gonna tell you this. I think as black people, our reputation has been proven. So if this continues, some measures will be taken, some very calculated measures will be taken. And you'll be thinking, hey, I could just rig the system as before. But just understand, we are not fools. We have people who know the law. We know people who know what we're actually doing. So it won't go down the same way. And you're gonna have one option left. This is me gaming this whole scenario and how it's gonna turn out. Is enforcing, using force like you have many times before to subjugate, because surely by law you cannot win. You can't. Your own people will be against you. So you'll be left with force, and force will be met by force, and trust me, you do not want to do that. Nah. Right? Living in different realities, right? You might be tempted to argue with this person, but don't do it. You're from different universes. She is from a universe that this did not happen. So believe her. Okay? And just let it go. Right? For instance, what happened to this guy? Right? This is how some white individuals feel, apparently, right? Seeing black people having fun, starting harassing them, right? They see black people graduate, something makes them feel some type of way inside that they have to make comments or faces or voices, right? So after doing multiple drive-bys provoking this black family, as you can see, as they are celebrating in their home, this man here, right, went home, geared up, I mean body armor and a weapon that can fire a lot of bullets. And then he done did a drive-by. But unfortunately for him, there was an operative in the crowds, and he had his heater. And he shot the man. He didn't die, but his whole situation and what he was planning did not happen. Why? Jealousy. It's crazy, right? Jealousy. They are depressed. They are not happy. They are not celebrating. The world is going, I don't know. So they hate him for it. And he thought that it was justified for him to do this. And guess what the courts said about his case? These are the conversations that you as white men are supposed to be having. Not having a conversation. This has nothing to do with us. But where did this person grow up? Because he definitely did not grow up around black people, that's for sure. So what happens for you to breed such kind of people, right? These all three events, all against black people, all of them. Specifically. Not that evil, or rather violence, is not projected into other minorities, but hey, let's be serious, right? The power dynamics are at play here, okay? Power dynamics are at play here, okay? They cannot mess with the Japanese, they cannot mess with the Chinese. Why? Because there are consequences, one way or the other. These people have a way to retaliate. But our current predicament is being undone. But since they are used to them getting their way, that they feel like they should do this, then it is what it is, I guess. You know, it is what it is. The same mentality. The same mentality. Now, as we circle back to this, well, I'm trying to find out, are they still playing good cop or bad cop? I think the Axis should respond rather. All of it. What are the targets? Anything that is near the border of Lebanon and anywhere that they have settled within Lebanon. That's what you go after. And see what the Americans will do. Because this game here, they wanna, create a situation where there is no response, and then they continue, because we know they continue, because this is the same playbook they did in Gaza. Oh, we bombed this building because Hezbollah was hiding, operating over there. We bombed this school because Hezbollah was weapons cache was there. We bombed this school. Nah. If you let it fly, then it is what it is. This conflict here needs to be looked at. Especially money. This is why this conflict exists. Money and management of that money. And it can get nasty real quick. Follow it up with an audit. He has been out here on these Twitter spaces. Hunter be out of pocket. So he says that was not his cocaine. He was addicted to crack. So what is he trying to say? So this seems to be the pattern, right? When there is a admixture of white supremacy, Asian people, and black people, problems. Because as usual, Europeans like to make you choose, pick a side, right? They believe in such a belief. So there isn't really any advantage to allying with black people. That's what they think, at least on the surface. There is no privilege, so they align themselves with white people against the interests of black people who can do it independently. Right? But again, this is the other side. There are those who are not really racist, but there's something in the water in Babylon over there. Right? That seems to turn people white supremacists, right? And I heard a really funny conspiracy a long time ago that the real elites, like the genuine elites, like tippity-top invisible elites, they're actually melanated black. And wouldn't that be something? Let's just say I keep an open mind because I've learned, right, to have established ideologies in this world of deception is a very dangerous thing. Right? So I reserve that somewhere in the back of my mind. And I'm waiting for evidence, right? And I know at one point in time people are going to start talking about it. After conducting an act of piracy, of course. Starling needs to be struck like yesterday. I don't know why these people keep pretending that this guy is not a warmonger like the rest of them. I don't know. Maybe because he's popular with the Gen Z. Yeah. This is genuine, for real. Tell me that this is not them spiraling out of control and trying their best, right? Look at France, for instance. They are in such a bad situation, but still they have the money to give the terrorists and to do operations, and they have a budget. Like I said a long time ago, these people, this war is their last effort for survival. So they have put everything in their piggy bags into a war to conquer. Right? And this time their leader is, of course, America, right? And Israel, of course, equal partners, right? Just one being worse. Not pointing fingers, but it starts with an I. So, of course, it's not about unity. They are planning to use you regardless of your ideologies. They will appeal to any, right? One time there will be Heil Hitler, the second time there will be Jesus loves you. Anything to get you to join their side for one singular purpose. Not so as you can focus on the internal, but rather focus everything on the outside. To use you as war machines. And they're succeeding, unfortunately. And you're gonna collide with us. And it's not gonna be pretty. It's not. Okay? This is just a simple message to all of you colonial powers. Okay? So this is what the Iranians are saying, because there's a lot of fireworks going off here and there in the media, catching straws and all, right? So I downloaded the PDF, right? The slides that Tosi had declassified. That's partial declassification, that is, right? Because he was talking about 30 countries, but he targeted only Ukraine. Why? Is it a leverage that they want to have against Ukraine? What is it, right? What about the other 30 countries? Right now I entered the thing to the AI thing, and this is what they pulled up, right? Eastern Europe, Central Asia, Ukraine, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan. These are the places that labs exist. And in Africa and Southern Asia, Kenya, Uganda, Thailand, Cambodia. Right? Look at that. We're just participating and stuff. I think history speaks for itself. Look at the past. You'll know what is what and who has been used for what. Unknowingly or knowingly. That is yet to be decided. Look for the past, 10 years. All of the outbreaks in these countries mentioned here. But I'll do a proper video looking at those slides. Okay. So yeah, this is the real life now. So yeah, they are definitely going to attack Russia, or gonna make the situation in Russia worse. Why? Africa. Okay? Africa. And people are not seeing the full picture, and that is not in most Europeans' calculus. Okay? They are not getting Africa without defeating China and Russia. There is no way. That's what they think, at least. Okay, as per their strategy. Containment of China. What do you think that means? Minimalizing the footprint of China. Where is it most prevalent? Let's just be real. Where is China's footprint mostly prevalent? Africa, if we go by nation count. Good business and growing exponentially everywhere. So when they talk about China containment strategy, there's only one way to contain China. It's to go to war with China. And that's a bad idea within itself. But hey, these are not geniuses here we are talking about. And Russia, definitely. France, right? And all of those people who are benefiting from France exploiting Mali and Niger and Burkina Faso, all of them. Look at their uranium situation. That will tell you the whole picture. Look at their uranium situation. That will tell you the whole picture. And it will also reveal to you what they have been doing in Africa. Talk about trade imbalance. Anyway, I will put a pin on it right there, and we're gonna see each other when we see each other. Prince Easy signing out. Love you. Bye.